Hey everybody, Dennis Gebhardt here with Guru Village. Welcome to this episode of Brain Smoke. Today, you know what? I love this industry and I love my colleagues. I've been in this industry for a long time, but sometimes we don't really step back and look at ourselves from the outside. Today I want to talk about language, and I know that's interesting, a vocabulary. And I know you're saying, well, what's that got to do with hair color or hair design? But it's not about the technical part of our business. It's about the understanding part of our business. What do I mean by that? This weekend, there were several forums where there were lots of great conversations going on. And in one of these forums, they were discussing terminology, meaning I think the subject they were discussing was balayage. Saying, well, if it's in foil, it's not a balayage. It's something else called foliage or whatever that is. Had this whole thread of different opinions, and there were some great points made, but I had to step, and I just had to laugh. I had to laugh for my colleagues that were initiating this forum, and I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for them. But look, we're trying to argue over a technique name, and yet we're in an industry where we don't even have a common language. And that is why I think for new hairdressers, it's such a challenge today. So when you come into this industry and you're looking for a definite answer to what it is, and no one can do that. I think that's why people are confused when they even use social media and they ask for an answer. Can you give me some sort of guidance on this? And you have like 27 different opinions. That's a detriment to our business. And the reason it's a detriment is because we end up arguing with each other over what it is or what it isn't. It's a crazy world we live in. And in our industry. And I think a lot of that comes to the fact that they gave us minimal education when we started. They gave us enough education to make us functional. They didn't give us enough education to help us master this business. You know, I heard someone say one time on social media that they don't believe there's anything as such as mastery. And I totally disagree. When you think about some of the great artists, I always use those folks as a analogy because we hear people in our business always saying, well, I'm an artiste. Those people became masters of their craft. They understood the pigments that they used. They understood the tools that they used. They understood the medium that they're painting on. We don't do that in our industry today. Some do. If you're watching this and you're getting offended, I apologize. Let me apologize to you so you don't get sensitively hurt. But we don't. I mean, we use words that actually don't even exist. For example, the word fadage. Okay, did you know that this word doesn't even exist? If you try to look it up in a dictionary, you won't find it. You will find fading and you will find faded, but you won't find fadage. Another characteristic of our business sometimes is we don't have a word for it. We make up a word. And can you see how that continues to confuse and continues to convolute what we're trying to create? And that is a clear understanding for new people so that they are able to, one, articulate what they're doing successfully, and number two, feel confident in their understanding of how those things work. And I mean, it's a simple thing of even understanding things. I mean, for example, how many times have you heard someone say, I'm going to color her roots? Now, roots, we've never colored roots of the hair. None of you have. This is what roots look like. Do you see that they're below the skin? So what do we call it? Well, it could be called scalp area, which is pretty clear. It's at the scalp, so that would be a good descriptor. It could be called new growth because we know the hair grows out from that area, so that could be called new growth. But it's not called roots. We've never colored the roots. And so we have to think about the words that we're using. I truly believe people judge us by the words that we use. I believe that consumers who patronize you. They come into your salon, they sit in your chair, and they hear you carry on a conversation. They're making value judgments, not only on their service, but on whether or not the relationship is going to be long lasting. Do you know that they say that we have about 14 seconds from first meeting a person and they evaluate whether or not the relationship is going to be worthwhile? 14 seconds. So it comes from how we look, what we say, and the words that we use. How about this? How about I'm going to throw another color over the top of that color? I hear people say that all the time. I hear people write it. I see people write it in social media. Look, if you're painting your wall in your house, you will layer color. You can put one color over another. But in hair color, you're not doing that. If I put a permanent color on a head of hair that already has permanent color on it, what I am doing is I am actually changing that color. Am I adding pigment to that formula? Yes, I am. But I'm also changing the color because the alkalinity in the color will swell the cuticle. In the cuticle layer is where some of those intermediary dyes have bonded together. Remember, we color hair not only in the cortex, but in the cuticle layers as well. So the alkalinity will allow some of those intermediary dyes that have developed to escape. The new dyes will be delivered in that area, and they will bond with the existing dyes that are there, and the color will change. That's an important thing to know when you're in color correction, because sometimes you can adjust or tweak or balance out a tonality by simply using another color depending on alkalinity and all of those things, which are part of a class. But I just want you to understand, it's like why people are so confused. You know, we teach people color won't lift color. That's the thing that we've always said in this industry, which is not true. You know, color will affect color based upon how much previous color it has. There are variables, but you can't say color won't lift color. But we do, because that's what we were taught in school. You know, we were also taught that peroxide pre-softens the hair. Why they taught that, I have no idea. So we have to ask ourselves, are we using a language that is universal in our industry? And the answer is no. Based upon if you got most of your training from a manufacturer, I'm going to tell you right now, some of the information that manufacturer gave you is different than another manufacturer would give you. And the reason for that is because they want to market their product, their tribe, their team, and in order to do that, they have to call things by different names or look at them in a different way. You can see colorists sit around in a meeting and talk about, well, in my brand, the red orange lives here, and in my brand, it lives there. I love this one. This person told me one time, he said, well, look, our gold is our yellow. And I said, well, how's that possible? Because yellow and gold are two different colors. Well, no, our gold is our yellow. That's what we call yellow. Well, why would you call gold yellow if it's not yellow? Yellow is yellow, gold is gold. It's like someone said to me one time, they said, copper and orange, same color. No, they're not. Copper and orange are two different colors. So you can see that we have a lot of gaps in our learning in this industry. And what has happened is, as an industry, we have allowed that to continue. Look, I'm not blaming it on anybody. I'm blaming it on our own industry. We've allowed that to happen. We have allowed that to continue to be taught over and over and over again, those urban legends. And it's no wonder that new hairdressers have, you know, they struggle with trying to understand what's real and what's not real. So you can't cover up another color with a color. That's not what you do, but we talk about that. We talk about stripping color out of the hair. And the fact is you don't do that. When we lighten hair, color doesn't come out of the hair. When we lighten hair, we actually reduce the amount of melanin that's in the hair. The smaller the melanocytes become, the smaller the pieces become, the more light refraction and light reflection that they create. And that's how we create lighter visual results. So when we create lighter hair, we're not taking anything out of the hair. We're actually just reducing what is there. And that sometimes is very hard for people to understand, because they think they can actually remove a color. That's why with direct dyes, people have so many problems today. You know, that you see them all the time on social media. They say, look, I have the hair is pink, I can't get the pink out, I keep bleaching it. I'm using direct dye lifter, I'm using the eraser, I'm using blank canvas, I'm using all of these different things. And why is it not moving? Because it's no longer there. What you're looking at that's still there to some degree is the cuticle. Because direct dyes not only embed themselves in the cuticle layers, they also stain the cuticle, because this cuticle is translucent. So the only way you could literally lighten the product out of the hair is, one, if you had no cuticle, would be extremely porous hair. You might be able to do that. Or number two, if you take the cuticle off the hair. And then, of course, the hair will be, you know, it's going to end up on the floor. That's why if you take and change the color, as you lighten the hair lightens more successfully. So we have so many gaps that are missing in understanding what we're doing. And it really breaks my heart, because I want the future for all the new hairstylists to be successful. My goal is to hopefully carve out a pathway for you that'll make your trip easier than mine was. Although mine was pretty exciting. You know, there are many of you who are watching this episode who have just been in this industry maybe 10 or 15 years or even 20 years. And that's great. But the sad thing is that you may have never had the opportunity to meet the real Paul Mitchell. You may have never had the opportunity to meet the real Vidal Sassoon. Or you may have never had the opportunity to see Alexander de Paris, or any of those iconic hairdressers, Jay Sebring here in California. All of those iconic hairdressers who were part of that pioneering stage for our industry. And that was a wonderful time to live through, because here's what we know. In that period of time, we had everyone sharing with each other. Everyone had mutual respect for each other. And it was a time when everyone wanted to grow. And that was a pioneering stage for this business. I am so glad that I had the opportunity to live through that. But it makes me so sad today when I look at our industry and I see that in some cases, the bar's not been raised. The bar has actually been lowered. We don't have that same respect for our business. We don't have that same respect for our fellow professionals. You know, there's so much tribalism on social media. You know, if you're not on my team, I hate your team. And it gets crazy. It just totally gets crazy. And for many people, there's no seeking of mastery. There is, if it's good enough, that'll be fine. That's why you'll see people ask for a formula on a forum. I'm truly fine with people asking for help. But for asking someone to formulate your color for you and they can't even see your color, I don't want you to know it happens to me. I have people who reach out to me, send me pictures of a head of hair they're working with, and ask me for advice. And I help them, genuinely help them. But what concerns me is that those pieces of mastering this puzzle were not filled in. And there's sometimes not a desire to do more. People become very complacent and very happy with where they are. I love this business. I promised my mentor shortly before he passed that I would make my concerted effort to leave this industry in a better place than it was when I got here. And I try to do that every day, in every class, in every conversation that I have with my fellow salon professionals. So we have to come to a common language. And responsibility is ours. People say, what do we do? Well, here's what you do. We get together and we identify a common language that everyone speaks. And for those of you in beauty schools, you're as bad a culprit as anybody else, because some of the language that they learn in beauty school is not relevant to the language that we're dealing with today in the salons. We as an industry have to make a decision to come together and to stabilize what's happening in this business. Or else what's going to happen is that it's not going to be where I expected it to be, as the future happens. We already know in states all across North America, and North America, I'd say Canada as well, that many governments are doing away with licensing for salon professionals. That's right. You don't have to be licensed. You can just go out. Probably they'll have you get a certificate and go to work in a salon. That's frightening. First of all, because so many people who are in the industry and have been there for a while are still struggling with mastering the important parts of it. They can't articulate a why that they have somebody do something. If you've ever been in a salon and you're learning and you said to someone, why do you do that? And they said to you, I don't know, just do it because I know it works. That scares me, because mastery is understanding the why. Because when you master the why, the how becomes so much easier. So today was my rant about a common language. What do you do about it? Start cleaning up our own language. First of all, seek good quality education where they give you grounding information. And if you're sitting in a classroom and someone is doing the education, they're facilitating the education, and they can't answer your question, or they ignore your question, or they put you off, then I would be really concerned about that. Because every educator, and I hate that word educator, every facilitator of educational information needs to make sure you're grounded as well. We all owe that to our industry. We owe it to people who come to programs and pay for our information. You owe it to your clients so that you can deliver for them the best experience that they've ever had. Remember, today it's not about service anymore. It's about experience and building a relationship. And when we're able to do that, and when we master hair color, we truly will enjoy this journey. So look, if you have found this little bit of information beneficial for you, please do me a favor and share it with your friends. Or come and visit us, please, at guruvillage.net. We are an online education company. We not only do online education, we have pre-recorded webinars that you can purchase for educational resources. We also do live education as well. We have our educational calendar is posted on our website. We also do live programs. In fact, July 29th and 30th, I am going to be in Covington, Louisiana. We're doing a 2-day color correction program called Master the Disaster. I invite you to come and play in my sandbox for 2 days. I guarantee you it'll be a great, fun journey, and it may change the way you color hair for the rest of your career. Please reach out to us on our educational website. Follow us on Facebook, Guru Village. We have our own Facebook page there. Anytime you have questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us as a company. We want to be a resource. We are non-branded, brand neutral. And so we're going to give you the honest answers, scientific, fact-based answers as best we know them. We try not to spin anything. What we try to do is empower you as a salon professional, because we truly believe when you discover your genius that's inside of each and every one of you, it will be a phenomenal journey for you in this profession. So until I see you again on the next episode, from my heart to yours, I'm Captain Color. I'm out. Have a great day. Bye-bye.